Welcome one more day to Enharmony. I have decided to have a walk in the fields and share with you the vitality we have around. So let's walk consciously. Let's hope we don't meet many people affected by mass hysteria, because we are living a very strange situation. Here in Spain, the government has declared the state of alert, and people in general are very scared. And this is also causing young people to go into areas which are usually more tranquil, like this sort of natural park. And they are running into these areas with their music, with their noises, shouts, and it's more difficult to have tranquility. I'm trying to look for a place because I'm hearing shouts and there is someone with music somewhere. So I'm going to choose the most inaccessible areas, the most complicated, even though I have to make some effort. But let's keep calm and raise our vibrations. Now feel the colors, the vibrant yellows, greens, browns, the sounds of the birds. All this is telling us about the growth of vitality. Spring is very close and energy is growing because of the cycles of nature, and obviously we can make use of this raise of vibration, and with that vibratory input we can raise our immunity as well, but on several levels: physical, mental, spiritual, because all the attacks come from different levels. Realize that those of us who came to help, the beings of primordial light, are under a strong attack. War was declared to us a long time ago. Even the master said that the prince of this world was coming. Well, he came and he has caused a good mess for 2000 years. We knew this was going to happen, but we shouldn't panic, and we should put on the armor of divine light, understanding how to feed our true being in order to be more protected. So let's now meditate on how to feed our armor of light. The work must be done on several levels. The first level is, of course, the physical. We need to sleep well, even if it's just 5 hours, but deep sleep would be enough. However, some people sleep 8 hours and 9 hours and they get up very tired. And this is for several reasons. Many times it's because preoccupations in the unconscious, food, maybe they had dinner very late at night. Here in Spain many people have dinner very late. I include myself, but I have very little normally. A heavy dinner also interrupts the rest of the body. So we have to take care of all these things. Eat more consciously. Be aware of how we eat, what we eat. For instance, acidic foods and mucus-producing foods lower the vitality of the body. And this includes all processed foods, such as biscuits, potato chips, cakes. All that decreases the vitality of the body a lot. Then there are foods that are usually considered very healthy, but are mucus forming. The most mucus forming are actually legumes and cereals. That doesn't mean, of course, we shouldn't eat rice from time to time or some bread, but we shouldn't eat too much of that. Since the health crisis I had, I stopped eating too much fish or even meat. I just eat meat once or twice a year. Fish from time to time, but not even every month. And this is because animal protein has an inflammatory effect on the body, especially when it's combined with starch, because starch and protein generates an acidic fermentation that causes inflammation. And I discovered all this going through the process of healing. Of course, this doesn't mean everyone should experience the process in the same way, but I realized that by reducing certain foods I feel much energized, and now I can eat some things for which I felt allergy, like bread. I usually toast or dextrinize the bread, because when we cook it that way it's less mucus forming, and I only eat it at the end. I mostly eat cabbage, broccoli, green beans, and for satiation I use potato and bread. I cook with a little bit of olive oil and even garlic, even though those are not foods for the organism, but we are so full of toxins that we cannot just live without putting some food in the organism, or even go back to a more natural diet consisting of fruits and leafy greens. And there is another physical key to be consciously considered, which is the amount of food. I don't eat more than 1 or 2 a day, and this is because the body has a tempo of digestion, and heavy digestion lowers the vitality, as I said. Some people might need just a bit more than 2 meals, but 2 meals should be enough in a healthy body. If someone needs more, it means there is too much accumulation of toxicity. But let's notice that originally we didn't eat external things because that was the result of modifications in the laws of nature. I don't even eat fruit in great quantities because fruit is very purifying and it dissolves too much the toxicity we have accumulated. And then the organs of elimination get congested. So it's necessary to go little by little, adapting the diet to particular circumstances. One of the things I do is to cook fruit because that decreases the purifying effect, and the body can tolerate fruit better that way. It doesn't cause so much reaction. Some people cannot even eat fruit, especially those having the so-called candida problems and so on. But all that is because the accumulation of fungi in the humidity of the mucus. Get rid of the house of Satan and Satan will go away. When we clean up the body little by little, then we can have more natural types of diets. Originally we didn't even eat solid food. We fed on our energy, the inner vitality. So I suggest moving gradually towards our original conditions, even if we are living in these physical bodies. And going back to the original conditions is something that we can do now, experiencing what in Hebrew is known as Gan, the Gan Eden, the Garden of Eden. But realize there are 2 gardens of Eden. One garden was poisoned by the tares, by the modified genetics of draconian beings, which alter completely the bodies, separating the genders, making beings dependent on sex, energy, external food, and so on. All those conditions are not godly, as some people may think. All those conditions were designed by thugs of the universe. On the contrary, our true garden is a connection. Notice that Gan is the acrostic for Guf, which means body in Hebrew, and Neshama, the breath of understanding. And when the true body and true mental soul are one, then we have a vitality, an emotion, an energy motion, which comes right from the source. And this connects us to everything around us. We are a cell in the cosmos, and all that is very nurturing. When we establish that connection, we realize that these physical bodies are not our true bodies. We start noticing that there is something in us, a vital energy, which leads us to be aware of the true collective vital body, and also the body of light that comes from the primordial source, the origin, the father of lights. And the more we become aware of those connections, the more we are able to feed on the impressions. This is the key. That's for sure the most important food we can have. Divine impressions. But we need silence and attention for that. Notice how beautiful the evening is getting. Listen to the sounds. Contemplate all the colors. Be aware that we have three foods. The physical food, we have to be very aware of that, of how we eat consciously. Breathing, because breath contains solar and planetary elements that raise the biomagnetism of the body. Conscious breath, of course. And the impressions. Those three foods help us go back to our true garden of Eden. And the more we go back to the original way of feeling, then we experience something known as paradise, which in Hebrew is known as pardes, a word comprised of 4 letters, which are the initials of 4 words that tell us about 4 levels of understanding. The first one is peshat, which means simple, literal. Notice that a flower or a tree, it just seems that, a flower or a tree. But on a deeper level, they are telling us about the structure of the whole cosmos. Even our bodies are teaching us. But that's a deeper level of understanding. The second level of understanding is remez, which means clue. And everything we see around is a clue. Sacred words are clues as well. Images, symbols. And we can see that even in the scripture. For instance, the word Bereshit, which means origin, beginning, is found right at the beginning of the book of Genesis. Bereshit bara Elohim, in the beginning generated Elohim. In the beginning, the natural architects generated. And we can also find that in the book of John. In the beginning, or in the origin, was the Logos. Now, when we follow the clue, we realize that the word Bereshit means in the head, Beit Resh. And we can understand deeper that in that origin, some beings emerged, were emanated, and eventually that emanation generated more beings, some of which became disconnected from the tree of life and generated the fallen universe in which we live. The universe in which there are cracks. There is a separation of mind, body and heart. and therefore the energy of the serpent is very active. Now in the third place we have the level of drash, which literally means investigation, search as well, and we can search for the meaning of the parables, for instance, the parables of the kingdom, and then we can find out they are all related. But we can also investigate our experiences. We go through life and have many experiences which are connected, and we must guess the connection between all of them. And as we gain understanding of our experiences, our vitality grows as well. And there is something very interesting. When we remove the letter Samech from the word Pardes, paradise, then we get the word Peret, mule. And mule is an sterile animal. It cannot reproduce. And this is because the mule is the result of uniting a female horse with a donkey. Curiously, in Spanish, the word pupils is alumnos, and when we read it backwards, we get they are mules. So the people who want to be pupils of external masters can never understand by their own, they can never access their true inner wisdom, and this is losing the opportunity of exercising the divine mastery that the Holy One has granted to each one of us, because we are the expressions of the Holy One. This is why people lose vitality. They depend on others and they lose their own power. That's another connection. And of course, it's necessary to keep the body clean these days, especially now with this sort of pandemia. But it's more important to raise the bioenergetic immunity of the body. Let's not forget that, as medicine says, we have 12 systems, and each one of them has its own sort of functioning tempo. And a very important one is the dermic system, whose function depends entirely on the harmonia of the nervous system, but also the energetic system. We have a biophotonic emanation, and the stronger is that bioenergy, the stronger is also the dermic system. The electromagnetic field, for instance, can kill pathogens, and these microbes have more difficulty in getting into the skin. And realize that the skin is also affected by low emotional states. Autoimmune diseases such as lupus and all those things are caused by lower states of vibration. So it's necessary to be clear of who we are, what we are doing, so the different systems of the body are harmonized. I suffered from eczema for a long time, and little by little that went away, but I had to work on all these levels. It's also very important to realize the connection between the different emanated bodies. For instance, the energy body is connected to the emotional and mental bodies, and these in turn are connected to the primordial emanation of light, the primordial body, which has no shells. And this interrelation of bodies is known in Hebrew as Sulam, which in Hebrew means ladder. And we can go up the ladder anywhere we are, right here and now, increasing the connection of mind and body, where the vitality in the heart grows. And this will raise the immunity more than anything. Let's not forget that all this raises the immunity towards the negativity of others, the fear that society wants to spread, the fear spread by the mass media, the fear cultivated by almost everyone daily with violent movies, violent speeches, discussions, sexual immorality, all that is contributing to decrease the immunity of people and increase the contamination on all levels, not just physically. And for now, I hope you enjoyed the walk and these reflections. I leave you with this beautiful image. And until the next day, blessings of unconditional love, unmodified life, pure conscience, and deep blissful serenity.